Hey everybody, Miranda here again. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about dinosaurs and how should Christians respond to dinosaurs. How do Christians respond to all kinds of different animals and creatures who haven't been here or aren't here anymore. This kind of falls within Greek mythology and a bunch of things that used to exist that theories and legends talk about, but that aren't here anymore. So where does this fit in with the Bible? Because the Bible actually explains what happens. They just don't, flat out name, dinosaurs or Zeus or, these different hybrid creatures that we see throughout that have left their stain on history. And we've left it for the world to interpret. So there's very little people that I have seen that are brave enough to go there and talk about these kinds of things. I've found a few, mentors and teachers, throughout, history and even now some modern, people that have gone into those studies, into the Word, and have attempted to get the answers. And so for me, I know this is a question that I've always had. As a little girl, I liked dinosaurs. I've latched on to certain animals throughout my childhood that I really loved, and one of them used to be dinosaurs, and I loved them. They were fascinating, and it kind of bothered me that no one really knew where they went, and there was all these various theories and ideas of where they went, but nobody had the right straight answer. And then I thought, as I got older and had kids, my 5-year-old son likes dinosaurs. How am I supposed to teach about creation if I myself don't understand some creation mysteries? So what I'm going to say can be a complete word study and a study on its own, but I just want to get to the point of dinosaurs, and we can have further discussions on this topic later. So in Genesis 6, it says that the Nephilim were on the earth in those days. And I'm paraphrasing, I don't know it word for word. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days. Nephilim means fallen ones. If you read Jude, if you read Peter, if you read several other areas in the New Testament and Old Testament, it talks about fallen angels, angels that left Satan, left their abode, came to this earth, and then and then there's various other literature that says that they influenced man to sin. There was 2 lines of men living on the earth. There's the sons of God, which was the godly line from Seth, which was the pure bloodline on the earth. And then there's the daughters of men, which is common man, which is it just means common man. And then the sons of God, which is the sons of Seth, the godly line that was on the earth. The fallen angels influenced the sons of God to go into the daughters of man. And then through other various literatures, including the Bible, talks about that this influence they also influenced the sons of God, or the son, the pure bloodline, to go, or they also did the same interbreeding with humans. They did the same influencing and interbreeding with creatures. So dinosaurs, Dina means terrible, and SARS means lizard. So the word connection there is terrible lizard. So that obviously we can first look at that and rule out that doesn't mean good. And so if we know that God is good and everything that He created was good and perfect, then we know right away that God did not create dinosaurs because of just what the word means in general. So then where do they come from? So I won't read all the various literatures and studies here, but the book of Enoch, the Bible, all talks about how the fallen angels, the fallen ones that left Satan, that followed Satan and left their abode, caused man to leave their abode as well, and influenced a bunch of sinning and provoking of the Lord on the earth. And this created a whole race of hybridizations, which included creatures and animals. So when you see the half animals, the half humans, when you see something that looks like 2 different animals put together, the writings from ancient Egypt, the Greek mythology, Almost every single culture that was established or created has some sort of story or some sort of theory of how their version of their gods got there. It almost always includes some divine beings coming down and inserting themselves into or influencing reproduction in an unnatural way, and creating, their gods, like Zeus, or, these different things. So they all have this common theme, this thread throughout all of the different theories of this happening. So it gets distorted, from culture to culture, and that's why they have been called myths, because, each one is different, but the common thread is this interbreeding that happened between divine beings and common man. So we may not quite understand everything that went on or the technology that was used, but we just know that the fallen ones influenced the godly line, the sons of man, to go into common man, and it created a hybridization. And then we see the same influence taking place with animals, lizards, sea creatures, mermaids, all of that stuff. And once you get to heaven, all the people that I've read about who've been to heaven said that that stuff is very real. And that's where demons come from. So all of that was washed away in the flood, and so all of the disembodied spirits of a hybrid race, something that wasn't pure, wasn't natural, wasn't made by God, is where we get all of the unclean spirits. So they went from actually having names and having bodies in the Old Testament, being wiped away, and then in the New Testament they're called unclean spirits or demons. So that's where that comes from. So in a nutshell, that's where dinosaurs come from. That's why dinosaurs were not called on the ark. In the ark, Noah, it says that he was perfect in his generations, which is why he was called, and that word generations there means genetics. So he was literally the only pure stock bloodline left on the earth, and that's why God chose him. And then the animals came to him, one by one of each, that God made. All the animals that God did not make were not called, did not go to the ark, and they were washed away. So that's the true story of dinosaurs. If you remember, Satan went into a serpent. So a serpent is a type of reptile, and these dinosaurs were also reptilian in nature. Different variations and stuff, of course, but it was part of this genetic experiment that was going on, that Satan was using to try to cloud the bloodline so Jesus couldn't be born of a pure human to redeem mankind. So that's where dinosaurs went. So they didn't, they didn't just fall off and become extinct, and nature chose them for extinction, and then something else came into their place. There was no big asteroid or meteor, and there may be a little truth in some of that somewhere, maybe, trying to perhaps explain the flood as to why they just all of a sudden disappeared. And then you find their remains and all the layers of rock that happened because as the water receded at such a fast pace, it created all these layers, which makes it appear like the world would be millions and millions of years old. But because of the way the water receded, it made it look that way because there's all these layers. But it really wasn't. It was the way that the flood happened, the way that it washed up everything, and then the way that the water was actually receding created this kind of, layering, that people find all these different artifacts and fossils and things like that. And so super fascinating subject. Could definitely be a longer video, but I just wanted to come on and at least talk about dinosaurs and unnatural animals that once were, that no longer are, and where they went, and why, they were here in the first place. So that answers that question. That's why